Yeah. Okay, here we go. Mem Gimel base, a new Gemara, a completely new Gemara. I just hope. I hope that the previous Gemara was clear. It's one of those things. It was a long and lengthy Shak V'Tarya. I think for now we'll go weiter, but we do have to find the time to chazer the whole from top to bottom. That's tough. Yeah, by the time we get to Shabbos. Baruch atah Adonai Yelinu Melech Olam Shakol and He Avdei. Okay, here we go. Rava Shiva Ketzad. So now, really, I find it fascinating. Gemara. We had a Mishnah, and the Mishnah taught us lulav is 6 and 7. Arava is 6 and 7. When is lulav 6 and 7? If the first day of Shabbos is 7. When is Arava 6 and 7? So we saw Rashi. Rashi taught us if the 7th day of Arava is Shabbos. So we assumed this has something to do with the Shana Rabbah, etc. And we said, let's wait for the Gemara and we'll have clarity. So here we're at. Says the Gemara. Arava b'shvi'i my taima dachya Shabbos. Why is Arava on day 7 push away Shabbos? A very basic question. And really, this Gemara is, in a way, going to mimic the previous whole Gemara that we just had about Lulav. Now we're going to have it about Arava. Why does Arava push away Shabbos?
Why do we only talk about two specific?
No, we just started.
No, even in the Mishnah.
Oh, good. So that we surely had that kasha. We're gonna have to come back to that. Why the end of the Mishnah we sort of fell off. Says the Gemara.
Lulav encompasses Arba Minim.
Lulav encompasses Arba Minim. So here, no. He's saying about Arava. So here, Arava clearly means what? Something else. Which we said maybe there was something. We saw Rashi in the Mishnah. Something. We said something because I want to be careful because the Gemara is going to change everything. We saw the first Rashi in the Mishnah. If you go back to the first Rashi, Rashi says, "Va'arava lahakif mizbeach." That what is arava? To surround the mizbeach. Which, what is that? When is that? How is that? That's what we're going to see now. So it says the Gemara Nachamol arava b'shvi maitem adachia Shabbos. Amar Rav Yechanan. You know why? Kidei lefarsima, to publicize. Kidei, so that lefarsima, to publicize. Shehi min ha'Torah, that it is midaraisa. Fascinating. Oh, slow. Well, every question that you're going to ask is going to be the next question of the Gemara. It's one of those Gemaras. Beautiful. Says the Gemara, so the 7th day is Deicha Shabbos. Why? It's midaraisa. Ask the Gemara. Ihachi. Lulav nami. Lulav also, lidchi, should push away Shabbos. Kidei lefarsimai, so that we should publicize. Shehu min ha'Torah. It is midaraisa. Question mark. We've been learning that Lulav on day 1 is Deicha Shabbos. Says the Gemara, but wait. Let Lulav on day 7 be Deicha Shabbos. Let Lulav on all the days be Deicha Shabbos. If the whole svara that we're learning is that we want to allow something to push away Shabbos, to proclaim to the world it's a deraisa, to do the same thing by Lulav, answers the Gemara. Lulav gezerah mishom de Rabbah. Lulav is a gezerah because of Rabbah. What's Rabbah? Rabbah is the very bottom of Mem Beis Mem Beis, the very top of Mem Gimel Amud Aleph. The Gezerah de Rabbah is the famous Gezerah that what? You might come to carry your lulav in the street. So says the Gemara, that's
the rest of the days.
Correct.
Why not the first?
No, so that's what we're talking about. We're equating, we fell off of day 1. Day 1 was the whole shmooze. We figured out day 1, which we're going to come back to in a minute.
No, the thing is, ask that question on day 1.
Oh.
Use that as the reason for lulav for day.
So we did. We already did. We did ask that question.
We didn't say in the first one. We used.
Okay. Okay, good. Good. But now the Gemara answers.
But doesn't debunk the first one either.
Rabbah does it. Well, you have a clash. On one hand, you want to publicize the deraisa. On the other hand, we have a gzeira derabanan. You can't do it. Okay, let's go slowly. So lulav gzeira misham derabah. We can't take lulav. Why? Because we're worried about Rabbah. What's Rabbah? That you might come to carry your lulav in the street. So what's the obvious kasha of Kov? Rabbi Khan Frankel, good to see you in person, not your name on the screen. So what's the kasha now? So the Gemara now throws the ball back. Ihachi, Arava Nami, by Arava as well. Nigzar, we should make a gezerah, question mark. The same gezerah that disallows you from taking your lulav. Why? Because we're afraid that you're going to what? You're going to carry your lulav in the street. So what about Arava? We should have the same concern. Answers the Gemara. Arava. Not everyone takes. Shluchei Bezdin Maisi. The messengers of Bezdin bring the Aravais to the Maisi law, brings the Aravais. Whereas Maisi law brings it, law is it, whereas Lulav, Lakol Masr. Lulav is given over, Lakol to everyone, Masur is given over. So explains the Gemara, this din of Arava, which we don't even know what it is. We know it's something about surrounding the Mizbeach with Aravais. But that is not done by each and every person. That is done by the Beis HaMikdash. That is done by the attendants. That's done by Bezdin. So for that, we don't have to be concerned. Because for that, Bezdin knows what the halacha is. Whereas when it comes to lulav, who brings the lulav? Each and every Joe Shemo. And then we got to be worried. You're going to come to carry it on Yontif. So it's not our Hashanah. It's some other type of Hashanah. Something else seemingly about the seventh day of Yontif. Okay.
So I would say nobody goes and asks Charlotte on so either
That's also true. That's also true.
No one ever takes this little magnet.
Like, which weirdo? What's going on? Yeah, I hear.
You get the package, says my mother, you get the.
But who's saying that you make preparations on Shabbos for it?
Yeah.
Does that include carrying?
In the previous Gemara you're talking about? So the previous Gemara, that was one of the things that would have been included because that was also a deraisa. It was also a deraisa. Says the Gemara, okay. So we're not worried. Why not? Because the shluchei bezdin are the ones that bring it. Ihachi. So says the Gemara, 1 second. Kol yoima nami lidchi. 1 second. This has nothing to do with day 7. This has to do with something they did on the Beis HaMikdash. Which, guess what? They did it every single day in the Beis HaMikdash. And if the whole reason why you're allowed to take it in the Beis HaMikdash is why, it's nothing to do with day 7, nothing to do with day 1. It's why? It's because the Shluchim of Bezdin are the one that bring it. So Gavaldik, do it every day. Why is it only on day 7? Very interesting question. Again, if the whole reason that you're taking out Rav on the Beis HaMikdash is why, it's a deraisa, and the whole concern doesn't exist. Why? Because not every person brings it. So do it every day. Says the Gemara, fascinating teretz. Asi lefakfuke balulav. They're going to come and ask questions. Pickbook means to cause questions about the lulav. What does that mean? What would happen if the arava, Erev Tov Rav David, what would happen if the arava was being brought every day and the lulav wasn't? People would start saying, lulav's not so important. You know why? You only bring it on one day when it's Shabbos. Arava, you do every single day. So says the Gemara, really, ostensibly, Arava should be Deicha Shabbos every single day of the week. If Shabbos is the 3rd day, if Shabbos is the 7th day, you should take Arava. Why? Because I don't take it. You don't take it. The messengers of Bezdin bring it. And therefore, them, we don't have to be worried. They're going to be Deicha Shabbos.
And it's the last day, so it's like, okay, if they decide not to do it anymore, it's Yom Tov.
Oh, well, okay, that's one way to say it. The other way to say it is they'll know if a Rav is only one day, they'll know it's no greater than Lulav. That's the teretz of the Gemara.
What's the kasha again?
The kasha was, what's the whole reason we're allowing a Rav to be Deicha Shabbos? Because I'm not taking it, you're not taking it. Bezdin's messengers are bringing it to the Beis HaMikdash. So why is that only on the 7th day? We said if the 7th day falls out on Shabbos, then a Rava's Deicha Shabbos. If the 3rd day falls out on Shabbos, that'll be Deicha Shabbos. If the 2nd day falls out on Shabbos, if any day falls out on Shabbos, that'll be Deicha Shabbos. Why? Because there's no concern. It's the same Daraisa because of the Beis HaMikdash. And who's bringing it? Not me, not you, the Shluchim Bezdin. Answers the Gemara, you're right. It should have been that way. But you know why we couldn't do that? Because then people are going to think it's better than lulav. But says the Gemara, okay, v'lidchi b'yomtiv rishon. Let it be deicha on the first day. So what would happen? On day one, you'd bring your lulav in the Beis Hamikdash, as we learned on Amud Aleph. And on day one, you would have a rava on Shabbos. And now, when you think that a rava is more chashin than lulav, no, because they're both being brought on the same day. Answers the Gemara. Really, you're right. But you know why we can't do it? Because Eloi muchacha milsa. It's not, muchach means to be proven. Loi muchach and milsa is the matter. The matter is not proven. It wouldn't be clear. What would not be clear? Amri, people would say, you know why you're taking that Rava on day one? Because lulav hudikadachi. Maybe they would think that it's only because of the lulav. They would think that just like you take the lulav on day one, you also take the aravis. But they would not know that it's because of the arava onto itself. Good question.
Basically.
Good question. What does it
Then
mean?
this is to take the first day instead of the seventh day.
Correct.
Why would Dafka say?
Correct.
Nothing to do with Hashanah Rabbah.
Correct. You ask a good question. What is this? Who cares if they know why? Good question. That's what the Gemara says. But now says the Gemara, okay, so we can't do day one. Why?
You know that you have to have all down together. Otherwise,
Again, this is a different din. This is not the Arava in your Dalan Minim. Let's always remind yourself. It's a new din of Arava. They would surround the Mizbeach with Aravas, whatever they did. Says the Gemara, so you can't do day one. Why? Because you think it's because of Lulav. So therefore, when do you do it? Day 7. I don't know. Do it day 2. Well, why day 7? Asks the Gemara, Vilidchi, and push it off. Bechad mehanach. To one of these, bechad, in one mehanach of these. Why are we going all the way to day 7? Question mark. Answers the Gemara, difficult teretz. Kivan to come mafkis lami rishon. Kivan, since to come mafkis that you took it out la it me rishon from day 1. Ukma, you establish mit ashvi on the 7th day. Why? So if you look at Rashi, Rashi is clearly bothered by this. Meaning the question is like, shkayach, what's it like? We're children, either you're first, you're last, you can't be in the middle. Like, what's going on here? So that's sort of what Rashi says. Look at Rashi. Rashi's a few lines down in Rashi. Rashi says, Ukma Ashvi. Rashi says, Yoim Misuyam. It has to be a defined day. Oy Rishain, Oy Acharain. We're looking for like something definitive. And if it was day 3, it wouldn't be definitive. It's hard. It's hard. It's very difficult there. It's like, what does that mean? But kacha.
wouldn't it be even better, Raya, that even day 3, day 7, which is not first day until that falls down, like Kol Shekain first day. No.
Yeah, I'm a little bit okay. I think I'm bothered, but you're bothered. I'm going to articulate it.
Yes. Why are we asking about day 7? Why not ask about day 1?
Good.
Because if 7 is good for sure.
So it's right. So meaning we can't do day 1. Why? Because then we're going to be bothered by lulav. Says Mer, still throw on day 7. So Rav is asking, no, just choose any of the other days, and then you'll know that it's chashiv because it's being Deicha Shabbos. I really don't know. It sounds like the Gemara. This has to do with like the whole. Again, let's remember, why are we doing this? There's a very funny reason why we're taking this arava. It's to publicize it's a daraisa. So, which is interesting. So it sounds like in the world of publicity, this is almost like, a publicity stunt. You gotta call up the marketers and ask them, when's going to be the greatest publicity? It sounds like it's either the first day of Yom Tov or the last day. And that's what it sounds like. Again, I can't say I fully understand. That's what the Gemara says. But now we have a wonderful question. So why Lamaisa is a Rava pushing off Shabbos? To publicize that it's a din deraisa. Ask the Gemara, Ihachi, if that is true, ha'inna nami, nowadays as well, lidchi, it should push off Shabbos. End of question. Now we have to pause. We're gonna have to see Rashi in a moment. Let's just articulate a huge problem here. What do you mean nowadays? We don't have a base to make this. What are you talking about, Gemara? This whole Gemara,
All done for basic.
this whole thing was done.
Sense for most-
Right. So look at Rashi. Rashi comes along as always. Says Rashi, la'achar churban, after the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, de'avdinan arava chad yema, that we established the arava to be for one day, kide amrinon likamon, as we're going to say on the next Amud, minog neviim hi. It's a custom for the neviim bigvulin outside the Beis Hamikdash. Meaning, this is now talking about what's the one day that we created aravas nowadays. This is Hoshana Rabbah finally. So now that after the Churban, we created this new entity called Arava of one day in Hoshana Rabbah. So what's the kasha? Look further in Rashi. Kivan deleko lemichash, since there's nothing to be concerned, leko lemichash midi, there's nothing to be concerned. Litchi b'shvi, take it on the seventh day, v'yitalu, and take it v'chavtu, and hit it. This is what we do with the aravais. Whom shluchei bezdin. Because again, what was the whole reason we started this whole story? What happened to Rabbah? What happened to the Gezerah that you might come to carry your aravas in the street? What was the teretz? Not every Joe Schmo is doing it. So the Gemara's kasha is nowadays allow, this is obviously Bizman Chazal, there were still Batei Dinim, real Batei Dinim, allow Bezdin to take the Arava once a year. Look at Rashi further. Lefarsama. Why would you be taking it? To publicize Shehi b'mikdash min ha'toyra, that there once was a din midaraisa in the Beis HaMikdash, because there's no gezerah. So now let's just understand the depth of the Gemara's question. Before the Churban, why do they take the aravos on the seventh day in the Beis HaMikdash? Let's get this clear. Why? To publicize that arava is a din daraisa. End of reason. Does that exact reason apply nowadays? Yeah. To publicize the daraisa. Now it happens to be there's no daraisa because there's no Beis HaMikdash. But is there an entity called Arava daraisa? Yeah. So ask the Gemara, that entity should still dictate, still take Arava on the seventh day. There is no Beis HaMikdash, there's one big circle. Oh, the new din of Hoshana Rabbah. What happened to the fact you have to be concerned to carrying in the streets? Shluchei Bezdin should take it. So Rashi is teaching us this is really a loaded question. When the Gemara asks, don't be confused, because if you read these words and you think it's the same thing as we learned in Amud Aleph, what did this question Amud Aleph mean when we asked meant take the lulav on Shabbos? That's not the kasha. Kasha is not that each and every one of us should take the Arava on Shabbos. The kasha is that once there was this creation of Hoshana Rabbah, there should be someone, a shluach bezdin, maybe every shul should have a gabi that does it, a chvaistish. There should be someone that takes it. Why? Lefarsama, to publicize that there's an entity of Arava called De'a Raisa.
There was one guy for the 8 for Arava. So.
That brisker. Yachinanami litzchi anan. Ilitzchi. Answers the Gemara. Anan, sell those for big money. Lo yadinan b'kviyu diyarchi. Answers the Gemara. 1 second. Wednesday 7. We don't know. Back to square one.
But it's solid.
Ask the Gemara. In who they diyadi that they know b'kviyu diyarchi. They in Eretz Yisrael know litzchi. It should push off Shabbos. And let's stop over here, middle of a kasha, because it's getting late, and there's a lot of steps in this Gemara. Small steps, not such hard steps, but let's get the steps clear. A lot of nitty gritty details in today's Gemara. So we're going to stop over here, trying to figure out what's going on. Bizman hazeh.